Hey, you. Yep, I'm talking to you. You're getting hungry. Very hungry. Your mouth is watering. You have a craving. A craving for Doritos. A craving for crunchy tacos. Well, have I got the treat for you. It's that time again. It's grill time, baby. Come on in tomorrow only to get your charcoal for 50% off. Choose your favorite smoker. That's 20% off. 3453 North Kimball in Chicago, Illinois. Remember, this sale is for one day only. Now that's how you save big money. It's selling out fast and secure. Your tickets now. The first annual 1043 2018 Hip Hop Fallback Jam Session. It's something you don't want to miss. Hey, it's Danaya, Azure, and you are now tuned in to No Filter Radio with your host, Dope as Music.
So we're working on that.
Television.
Sissy. Okay. I think it's so special having my big sister do my makeup. I love when my sissy Erica helps me kind of play, I say dress up. It just makes me feel like, my big sister making me look fly, as she would say. I like it. Smoky sexy.
Social media. Video shoots. Photo shoots. Live stream.
Like 2 weeks ago, and most of you know I'm a casting associate, so I cast background and extras and whatever for 4-star casting.
Movies.
Dwayne, can I see you in my office?
Yeah. Can I use the bathroom first?
Well, make it fast.
YouTube videos.
Sweet love, hear me calling out your name. I feel no shame in love. Don't you ever.
Or commercials. Danaya Designs for You will get you right. Grab that S4S jewelry. Just go to bit.ly/DD4U jewelry.
Located at 4655 South King Drive. Approved by Papas Everywhere.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Hey, I got Deanna in the building. How are you, Queen?
Hey, Danaya, boo. How you doing?
I'm good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show a video real quick that talks about Chicago artists and why do they leave. So you're actually from Chicago originally, so
Of course.
yes. So the video that I did was basically talking to people that are either actors or singers and the designer at the time, and just talking about what makes Chicago artists leave or think they have to leave the city in order to be successful. So I'm going to show that real quick, and then I'll get into CSOO and why that's so important to me. So enjoy. Hold on. Oopsies. Hold on 1 second.
I've heard that a lot from a
I feel like in Chicago, it's been wonderful to me since I've but I feel like people think there's more out there in their fashion and in being in the entertainment. I feel like LA and New York, they feel like they can accomplish more because more people get discovered. I am a fashion designer by trade. I design clothes all ages, all sizes, and multiple management. I believe Chicago is more corporate corporate center where like big companies set up their headquarters here. We have a lot of those. So we feel that as artists, entertainers, designers, musicians, we feel that there's not a lot of support.
Hey.
I feel that also the artist community in Chicago, the games, the entertainers, and the designers, we do not support each other. Well, I personally support other designers, I support other artists, I support everybody in the industry. I try to be there, stay positive, encouraging. But you don't get it from everybody. People are selfish, people are mean in the industry, and once they make it, they want to run away, to New York, so they feel we are made in Chicago, reach slow. We don't reach well for people. Yes, yes, that can happen if we stay, if we keep our talent here, if we work together, if we support each other more, form alliances and unions, you know what I mean? We have to get the city, the mayor, to support fashion, art, music, and entertainment. Without any support, especially financially, it's going to be really tough. Stay humble and try to embrace and learn as much as you can, and don't sell yourself short. You can't sell yourself short, and keep going. Don't let any one person tell you you can't do it.
So, okay. So the purpose of playing that. So that was like one of the very first videos I produced. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Let me get out of here. I had to put this on. Alrighty. Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. This is on mute over here. Trying to figure out what. So give me one. Hello?
You hit my bottle and open, child.
Yes.
Got my little red wine.
Yeah. You guys get red wine?
Yes, I'm drinking Roscato, huh? I want to try that the champagne kind, the clear one, but I like red. Maybe if you
Mm,
drink it.
okay. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, so I think let me see what's going on here. The reason that I really wanted to that's why. Boom. Okay. I was like, where is that echo coming from? I'm trying to like do different things here. There we go. Because I was like, what is going on? I'm getting this echo for no reason. All of a sudden. So gotta love it. So the reason I wanted to play that video was because that kind of explains why I even started with the whole CSO movement, which originally started out as Shy Town supporting our own, and that was the original hashtag. What P1 was like, he's like, that's an awesome hashtag. However, it's way too long. And I was like, well, I guess you're right. So I came up with the acronym of CSOO. And the reason that I even started the whole thing was because there is a misconception. Hold on one second. Let me drop that in the chat. The video that I just played. Hold on one second. Let me drop that in the chat. That's on my. It's actually a specific playlist for that. So but it was really crazy. So like the video that I literally just played is about different artists and designers that talk about why they wanted to leave the city. And it could because they had the misconception that they had to leave in order to be successful, which is insane. But that's what they felt, right? So they felt that they had to leave because that's what they were told. Because everybody always says, "Oh well, you know, if you're in Chicago, then you're not gonna be able to make it anywhere," and all that kind of BS, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true. There are plenty of artists that are here that actually, that especially now with the success of Empire, like I think people don't realize. Yes, Empire has issues now, but back in the day, nobody was really checking for Chicago before that.
Mm-hmm.
Empire came out and just completely blew the scene away. Now we have all these different shows that have come here because of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so the whole CSO movement was about, or is about, making sure that whenever I see an artist supporting one another, that's the main thing that I say. So I used to just basically just share it and just say CSOO, you know, and people were like, "What's that?" And so I kind of explain it and be like, "Well, it's about supporting one another. And that's literally what it is, because there's a misconception that Chicago is the city of haters, and I wanted to change that misconception, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So you had that whole situation where you're trying to change the misconception of the "Hey, Cancel, how are you?" Of what people think about the city, and then I wanted something that that would represent showing when someone else supported another artist, another business, and I would just retweet or repost or whatever CSOO, and so that one went into. Now we have artists from around the country that are typing CSOO. If you type in the hashtag CSOO, you'll see it from artists that are here, artists that are that have gone overseas, and all of that. Even the artists that leave Chicago still stay with the whole CSOO movement. I think it's really dope, But it's all about support. Literally, that's literally what it is. It's all about supporting and showing love and networking with one another, and having a place where people can just like kind of can come and just see like the CSO will be nothing but dope artists, period. Because I don't mess with nobody that's not dope. I can't. I was raised around artists. I was raised around the best in the world. I was taught by one of the best in the world. My mom was an amazing dancer, choreographer, and costume designer. She trained artists from around the world. So I was raised around nothing but the best. I was raised around people. I was raised around Shakira. There's a belly dancer named Shakira, like the real belly dancer named Shakira. I was raised around her. So it was funny when the singer Shakira said a belly dance, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So somebody actually had posted, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go see Shakira, and like, no, the real Shakira. And that was one of my mom's dance partners, and she used to say that they were like the wrecking crew because they went to different bars or whatever when they were performing, and now mind you, a lot of these bars have these really low lights, So my mom was 5'8", and I think Shakira's like 5'10". So they'd have like swords and canes and stuff, and the lights were too low, and well, that there went the lights. You know, 'cause they're like bringing the swords around, all that kind of stuff. So it was just really funny. That I can't support anything that's not quality. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I click on the hashtag CSO. You know, it's nothing but dope Chicago talent. Period. And like I said, not just from here now. People that have traveled around the country but still support the movement. My boy and Derek and Cali. He's from here, but he's living in LA doing some amazing things. He actually has one of his videos. It was a short film called The Big Chop. It's been on HBO and it's currently playing on Issa Rae's YouTube channel. Got over almost 3 million views. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing but super, super amazing artist. My boy in Minnesota, my boy Mike, he actually was, before all this was working, in the studio that Prince was in. So, you know what I'm saying? And he's acting with the CSO movement, you know, and so it's something that I hold very, very dear to my heart because of what it represents. And
don't deny what her hashtags coming through. Honey.
So you grew up in Chicago. What had been your experience when it came to like
Danaya, you broke up.
people supporting independent? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was saying, so when you lived in Chicago, like what was kind of your vision? Like, what do you remember seeing when it came to artists, when it came to businesses? Did you see more people supporting, or did you see it kind of just like going by neighborhood, or what was your experience?
Well, my experience was short-lived because I was the only child.
Mm-hmm.
So the most, artists that we would see at a time is when we go into the Bullington Parade and, stuff like that. So of course it's gonna be massive support there. We
Right.
finna see, everybody from the Chi that left the Chi coming back. That's gonna be the time they come back and stuff like that. So I always looked at it like that. It was like, well, when I was there, it was all about team. Like you gonna rep the Chi, period. So it was like support, but I guess it was more on the like international level, like the Bears, the Cubs,
Right.
the teams and stuff. And but when it came to music, girl, I grew up. My mama was like up in age, honey, so I was still listening to. I was still listening to Anita Baker and them, honey.
Yes.
Oh, you know how that go.
Yeah, definitely. That's super awesome. Like, I love the fact that, you grew up on the old school artists. I did too. Like, I grew up on all the old school artists. Like, I was listening for the longest time. I was listening to Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston and a couple other people. Stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
So, when it came to music, like, and support that way, it was a lot. But when I was growing up, it wasn't no lot of young artists and stuff then.
Right.
Like the youngest we had, I think might have been Kid and Play that I probably could remember. And that might have been like the 5th grade. So I wasn't even like into them too tough, I guess, because you know what you grow up around.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. So that's why I had a stun it. I was like, eh. And then, girl, I moved to the country and it was a whole different culture. Because, in Chicago, you got the footwork and all that kind of dancing. And down here, honey, it ain't nothing but bounce that ass, shake that ass type thing. So it's a whole, it's very different. It was very different. So when it came to the music and stuff, I kind of got lost in it. And that's when I became like the hip hop head and the rap and all that stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. Now that is very interesting. I didn't even really realize. I didn't. Hey, Leslie, how are you? Yeah, I didn't realize. Karen Soul said, "Oh, I forget that you're from here. I totally forgot that." Karen Soul said, "I remember how Black Chicago was amazing back in the day, and independent artists in Chicago are still on point. You'd have to know where to find them." That is so true. That's why we have music on 3. Those are all Chicago artists. They're doing amazing stuff, and and a lot of them have been booked around the country, and hello, some of them around the world. You know, and it's just crazy. There's a misconception that that it's only New York, it's only LA that has the talent. That's just not the case. Period. That's not the case by any means. Absolutely not. So
I know country souls in Chicago, honey. That's where them voices and stuff at.
Hello.
The voices and the music is at.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, and what gets me are the people that are from here but won't claim us for whatever reason. I don't know what we did to them, but they claim us when it's convenient.
Right.
Like J-Lo goes back and forth. She's here. When she's here for some events, she'll be in Chicago, but then otherwise she'll be like, no, I'm from New York. Like, look, you need to make your daggone mind, child, because you be back and forth on that shit.
She confused. She don't know what she be talking when she be at.
She don't.
Yeah, what she gonna claim? What set she from?
Yes. Karen, so the 80s and the 90s were the ish. We had school parties and then parties at the warehouse. Yep. Absolutely. There were a lot of different clubs, and a lot of the music, you hear now came from Chicago. Like house music, that's all Chicago. House music turned into EDM overseas, whatever. That's that's house music that came here first. Y'all saw it. I'm just saying.
Sure did. Because when I came down here, girl, they was like, we was dancing, and I'm like, what is y'all doing? And they looking at me like, what is you doing? I'm like, no, this is the shit. Like, this is dancing. Like, you don't know nothing about the Tom and Jerry, the Roger Rabbit. What is y'all doing?
What is y'all doing down here? I'm confused. What is going on?
All we doing is twerking and percolating. Like, wait a minute, this all y'all doing?
Yes. And I think it's like it's a totally different vibe. Just a totally different energy that people don't think about. Back in the day, people were just. I think now it's like it's so sad because I think about all the artists that we have that are dope. Like people can say what they want about Kanye, but Kanye has done a lot. Common is still doing the thing. He might not have been a mainstream artist when it came to the music, but he made his mark when it came to movies.
Yeah.
And he's amazing live. Trust and believe. I saw him live and I was like, wow, he's incredible. He's absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. Really good people, And there's a really dope team as well. You know what I'm saying? Chance the Rapper is another phenomenal artist.
Yeah.
Who keeps giving back to the community, especially when it comes to education. But what's sad for me is that I've been in radio, especially when it comes to Blog Talk, and when I talk about people that don't live here, the main thing that I hear about is, oh, yeah, Chicago, y'all got that drum music. I said, wait, wait, and the first person they mentioned to me is Chief Keef. I said, wait, this is not gonna do, because he's not the only artist that comes out of here. He's not even the top artist that comes out of here. And we are not going to have him represent our city that way. How do y'all not know about everyone else that came from here? Y'all, Twista comes from here. Like,
girl, don't even get me. Girl, don't get me started. Don't do that. Don't just pop up Twista name out of nowhere, girl.
I'm just saying, like, we have so many incredible artists here, but what are we known for? Freaking drum music. I said, how did this happen? Drum music just happened a few years ago. We've had a plethora of artists, blues artists. Like, what do you mean?
And you see how lost I am, because what is drum music, honey? What is
Real
that?
Music? Okay, so like drum music is it's how to explain it? It's mumble rap, but then it's mumble rap combined with guns and drugs. That's it. Yeah. Mumble rap combined with guns and drugs.
No wonder I ain't hip.
I ain't hip either. No. Okay, so said the vibe back in the day was amazing. When it comes to R&B, the art is lost in this generation today. Absolutely, just like hip hop before, women were called out of their names on every song. If I ever get the chance to interview Queen Latifah, I swear I'm gonna just tell her thank you, because she.
Who you calling her?
Yes. Queen Latifah was so solid on that. She was like, who you calling and Unity, and just so many amazing people. Like, I haven't gotten a chance to interview MC Life. I know our station did a while back, and she actually did a drop for me, when I was in the station and whatnot, like because the owner had a connection with her, But it's just crazy now because we have all these, exactly you and I see why we have all these phenomenal artists that don't get any play, and Lord, I'm gonna try to do this now. Now I'm just warning y'all, if this thing gets cut off, because I'm talking about the music industry and YouTube don't like that, but we're gonna see how this works out.
Do a few seconds at a time.
I'm just letting y'all know, just warning you now. But it's sad because now hip hop in general is not what it used to be.
It ain't even no hip hop no more, is it?
So on a mainstream level, it's more rap / mumble rap. But as far as hip hop, there are still hip hop artists. They just the majority of them are underground. But there are some mainstream artists that are hip hop, but it's just not as many. And the music is being called hip hop, but it's not hip hop culture. If that makes more sense. So.
And I want to know where did they even come up with the mumble? First it was hip hop, then it was rap, and now we just making up names as we go, or what? I'm like, because I know I need to make a quick hit if so.
Facts. So I think I think the crazy part about when it comes to mumble rap, that especially for me, is that from what I gather, what they did was they've gotten to the point where it's like, we're just gonna have a hot beat and throw some words in, kind of a deal. So it's like y'all aren't paying attention to the words anyways. So we're just gonna put that beat out and just say whatever. You're not gonna care because you weren't listening to begin with. Now, Lil Wayne has said on multiple occasions that he could very well make intelligent rap. He just doesn't, because it doesn't make money.
And let me tell you, I used to love Lil Wayne. When he first came out, I was like, yeah. he the baddest one. And then when he separated and started making his own stuff, I was like, okay. So then we had the Carter 1. Okay, right. Yeah. Then the Carter 2. Okay, it hit. The Carter 3. Wait a minute, this is the same thing as the Carter 1. The Carter 4. Same thing as the Carter 2. Carter 5. I said, hold up. Now, yeah. I might be a fool, but I ain't no daggone fool. So you just gonna sit up here and play us like this?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But like you said, they couldn't wait till it came out. So it was just like, I was like, I guess.
Absolutely. Karen Soul say, hip hop has always had a message. Rap began with the message, and now it's some nonsense. And this message today is noise. It's, in my opinion. It's not just in your opinion, it's in a lot of people's opinion, because it is literally just noise. It's not, when you're sitting up there and your whole song is you sitting up there with the gun and, and just saying whatever, cursing every other word, right? When you've gotten to the point where the stations have to blur out every word of your song except for like a couple, this is where the problem is. Where is your radio edit?
But you know what? And what this doing is really stopping people from listening to the radio, because me, I don't listen to the radio. I could play my playlist and listen to exactly what I want to hear. Yeah. Now, if my phone or the Bluetooth acting funny and I have to cut on the radio, I would just sometimes have to go and cut it out, because I'd be like, you know what? I'm not even finna play with them today. I don't know what they saying. They don't know what they saying. Who is these kids? And I'm like, it's too much. I got bad nerves, okay? So I can't listen to no whole lot of yada yada, and I don't understand what's going on. My temper's short. I'd be like, what? And this made it all the way to the radio. So y'all know why we ain't listening to y'all. Y'all know why we paying for Siri and Pandora now. Because y'all letting this mess get on here.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, people say that's why they listen to Sirius Radio and Pandora and iHeart, but iHeart, see, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, is that mainstream media stations they're not completely dead, But if you notice, they're all transitioning onto online. So it's funny
Yeah.
how they were making fun of us when we were online and this and that and the third. They looked at those numbers though, and they're like, "Oh, we need to get online," because
Yeah.
with the mainstream stations, they were only able to affect a very small demographic, right? So with the online station, you can affect the entire world. So
Right.
that's what. So all right. So for y'all who don't know, iHeartRadio is no more than Clear Channel. So Clear Channel, the reason people don't really like them is because they came in and they have this, and they have an agenda of what they want to do when it comes to music, and they push out stations that would not go along with that agenda. Were you here when they had WNUA?
I don't think
It was
so.
it was an all jazz station. It was incredible. It was really really good. But when Clear Channel took over, they like WNUA wouldn't play ball, and so they just ran. They basically they slowly pushed them out, right? So like WNUA would be out there and have and literally every all the black stores used to play had that station on because they didn't turn nowhere else. It was just easy going music, chilling. Sometimes they had vocals, sometimes they didn't, but it was just very very calm, chill music, right? So you don't have to worry about changing your station when you're in the store because you can just put on WNUA and forget about it. So what they did was they gave them they had given them lower frequencies so that the station couldn't be heard as well and all that kind of stuff. Hey madam, how are you? Oh no, you're good, mama. So we gave them the lower frequencies so they couldn't be heard as well. So we started to get really spotty. And now WNUA has completely transitioned and now it's a country station.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like,
just kick them on out.
The same way, right? The same way, y'all know how. Remember, if y'all used to watch Martin, how they had that station? There was like hip hop and whatever, R&B and whatnot, and transition to the country. It was like that, but they did it slower. So it was like, oh, by the time they made a country, he would have forgotten that it was jazz if they weren't around. Yes, I was like, okay, I see you. I see what y'all doing. But
right on now.
Right, but that's why I've predominantly support independent stations and independent artists, and I'm blessed to know a whole bunch of amazing independent artists. And I think and it's crazy because it's like I've never really I think the best display of independent artists that I've heard is on my voice station, Dope Ass Music. He's a producer out of Cali, and he has a show on Mondays where he plays nothing but indie music. And you're like, damn, those are independent? Why the hell aren't they signed already? Just incredible talent.
Some of them, they blessings might be not to be signed. You never know.
That part too. Yeah, because I have an artist friend, Nikki Lynette, and she hasn't been signed, but you would think so because she's been in. I've actually played her interview a couple of days ago. She has been in Spike Lee's movie Black Klansman. She has toured all over the world. She's what is it? She's had voiceover in McDonald's commercial. She's had her own Kmart commercial. This is the girl so cold. She had a Kmart commercial that she starred in and did the freaking soundtrack for. So she got 2 bags to that thing.
Okay.
She ran for 4 months.
She don't need to be signed.
It was a back to school.
Lose money.
It was a back to school piece. One of my boys, Andrew, I think he auditioned for The Voice. I'm trying to get him on. He's so hard to get. He's a street performer. So I have to probably go when the road's over. I'm gonna go just grab him and just so y'all can see the video. It's funny because actually King Jive shared his video. I don't know how he got it, but when I say the voice of an angel, just absolutely incredible. They'll make you if you are in a bad mood, listen to this voice sing and you would just start smiling because voice is just badass. That's why he didn't get on The Voice is because of the fact that they couldn't do nothing with him because he's that cold already. There's no reason for him to be there.
And then there's The Voice on it.
He has enough to do. And I noticed that too. My girl Sandy Red, she didn't win that thing because she came in there and shut it down. If y'all have not seen The Voice with her when she was on that season, she still has the highest amount of views on The Voice channel on YouTube like ever. It's like 17 million, some crazy number, and that was just on her audition because she shut it down. I mean, she had all the judges coming out. They was throwing shoes at her. It was hilarious. It was beautiful because I've known her for years and I've watched her grow. So it was like, oh, you didn't know she was cold? We didn't know she was cold. But y'all late to this. We knew she was badass.
Like we used to that now.
You know she badass. She used to tour Johnson, all that. Like, yeah, she's been cold. What you mean? She's amazing, you know. But these are independent artists. Like right now, she's supposed to be touring with Jesus Christ Superstar on a freaking cruise. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so like I think a lot of people don't realize that there's so much talent here. But another problem that we do have is that we do hold each other back because we do have little pockets of, you know, this person is supposed to be on, this is who the chosen person is. And if you're not in this particular circle, then you're not gonna get to play.
I think that's everywhere.
Oh, of course, yeah. And then of course there's the payola situation, a whole nother deal. But that goes back to the whole reason of me creating the CSOO thing, because now it's like people really recognize the fact that like, oh, this is about supporting Chicago. This is literally about supporting our city and showing love to our city. And love people ask me about it and like, you know, like, what is it? Like, how did it happen? And this and the third. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a live and just talk about, you know, how this occurred. So y'all can stop fucking asking me. Because I explained it on multiple occasions. And so like we even had a whole thing. I worked with Yaya, Mikey, and somebody else that can't be named because it's irrelevant. But you know, we and my brother Maurice, we had a couple of amazing people, and we had a whole thing with CSO Network. We had CSO Radio, and we had a little online TV show, all that fun stuff, right? And that's when we switched it to Chicago Supports Our Own. So now I'm claiming the acronym as Chicago Supports Our Own as opposed to Chi-Town Supporting Our Own. So, but I mean, like I said, it was all about supporting. It was about connecting Chicago artists. By having the CSOO movement, I actually connected Mikey with Erica, who you guys have seen a couple of times on here, and Erica was the one that got him connected with Empire. So he was working on the TV show Empire right until it closed.
Okay.
He was on like one of the amazing the major not casting directors, but like the extra, like he like was over the extras and all that. So you know,
one of my
cool. So
Empire. I would say this about Empire. They ain't whoever, because I don't know, and I didn't keep up with it because I stopped watching it a long time ago. But whoever came up with the idea, they really, really included Chicago so deep. It was crazy. I even one of my friends child go with the person who wrote the music who do the music for him, and I'm like,
wow.
Empire didn't play. They was like, they want their people and they motherfucking people only. Like,
yeah, facts.
Like, come on now. I said they did not play. But yeah. And her child also went to what's the name with Mariah Carey child, just be everywhere. And I'm like, yeah. That's why I get what you saying when you said if it's not a certain genre of people or they not in a certain group that they won't. Pretty much, because you'll be looking like, okay, if I didn't know her, ain't no way I would have been able to go to meet Jennifer Hudson, be backstage talking to her, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? If it had been just any other normal person hugging, oh, you so and so, mama, and da 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 da, and but they like really, really stick together. It was like, okay, his mom stays down here. So he friends with Jennifer, like they super tight. They so close, like he ain't even down here. He didn't send us tickets and backstage stuff. Oh,
What?
it's family, y'all family, and that's how she was acting
Wow.
like we were family. And I was like, "Dang!"
That's a
So that's
fuck.
how y'all do. Okay, y'all stick together. I see. I see. But ain't nothing wrong with that. But then again, it do block out other people that really should be able to be counted and really should be able to get a chance to make it. And that's the messed up part about it though. It's like,
You know, Karen Soul said, "Thank you for saying Chicago instead of these other made up names. Because it's a bad rep for a few people, like the dude from Empire. He's not from here, and that was it was his nonsense. It's tricky. Like so, Empire is So what I will say, I really stopped watching after season. I wanted to season 2, because what they did was well, for me, my biggest problem with it was when they decided to make his character, to make Justice Smollett's character, when they decided to make him a bad guy. The main reason that I loved Empire so much was because it did something that no other TV show did, and this is why they got a lot of flack too. So Empire, not only did it support Chicago talent, not only did it push Chicago artists and independent artists that you would have never heard otherwise. I was actually the pleasure of interviewing D. Bozeman, who was the very first voice that you heard on Empire, who set the entire tone for the whole show. And I was just like, girl, like you literally set the tone for the show. Had you not had those vocals, this show wouldn't have made it nowhere. Because people are looking like to see how does it start, and it started with her gorgeous voice, right? So the problem that Empire had was that they got to a point where they kept listening to the BS, right? So they had this show that was that was essentially a black version of Dynasty, right? They had this show that was showcasing all these artists and hitting numbers every week, millions and millions of viewers every week. They was topping the charts like crazy. Then they decided to take the one character that everybody wanted to see win and make a fine scumbag. How do you take the character that everybody was rooting for? Because what I think what happens when it comes to the African American community is that there's still a lot of homophobia, right? So when Jesse Smollett came out there and they were showing how his father literally threw him away like trash. There's that resonated with so many people to be able to see like how he got out of that and how he's thriving and how and how he got beyond that. Because let's be very clear, there are a lot of kids in the rainbow community that don't make it out because that's what they have to live with, and they think that they're not worthy. They think that they're not gonna be able to get out, and they're not gonna be able to survive, and they don't have any idea and they don't believe that it gets better. And I'm telling y'all now, it does get better, but you have to get away from those toxic people because that's what's holding y'all back. And listening to all these people that are negative and don't care about you. So when they took the one character that was inspiring people because we're like, oh my God, he's being himself. This is really cool. He's a great artist. This isn't focused on the fact. This isn't truly focused on the fact that he's gay, but it kind of is. But it's not like that's not the biggest thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they made him cheat on his partner in such a disrespectful way. I was like, seriously, that's what we thought was a good idea. Y'all sat in the writing room, watched the numbers skyrocket just to make him plummet. That's what we did. That's what we thought was a great idea right now. This is what we decided was what we wanted to do to this show. And then I knew from there it was just downhill and just kept getting the storylines just kept getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And I'm just like, well, I tried. I supported still because I still had friends that were on the show. I worked with a lot of models and actresses. So they were on his side, like, tune in occasionally or whatever. I actually was blessed enough to have my Jory featured on the very last episode on the first season, right when right when he was going to jail. That was super dope. Like I still have that shot. That if you actually watch that one video that showed a very short clip of the piece from Empire.
Girl.
Yeah, shout out to Christina. That was That was so dope because she was like, she hit me up. She was like, "Yo, I'm about to be an Empire." I was like, she's like, "About to be an Empire and about to be featured." I said, "Okay, bet. So if you can wear a piece or whatever, I'll give you one." And so she rocked those piece out and peeled it real quick, and I was like, "Yes." So, and we just never like there were plans to do other stuff, but just never was. We were never able to get it together. And then once my boy got on, like that was my mom got sick, and so I wasn't trying to deal with anything other than taking care of my mom. You know,
Right.
I didn't get to work with that show, but it's all good when shows come back. I'll be working on those. I'm not even worried about it. You know, working on different projects and all of that.
You got it. You got it, baby.
But it's super dope to be able to say that when Empire was on its height and there was like 19 million people watching, 19 million people saw my stuff. Yeah, it was a quick moment, but y'all saw it. It happened.
Okay. I know that real.
You know, and then like what was, you know, but that was an amazing moment. Even like when you saw Erica, when she had the pieces on TLC, that one came on. That was on the TLC website. But last April, my friend did Standing Other Time, and so she was like doing her weight loss journey. My jewelry was on there for 3 weeks, so like I'm blessed to be connected with some of the most amazing people in the industry. But that still doesn't come overnight. That came from building relationships and networking and all of that. Hold on. So Karen Soul said, I started watching Empire because I got bored with it. I would tune in when my friends would tell me about certain artists. Daniels drank the Kool-Aid instead of sticking with his vision. Absolutely. He totally drank the Kool-Aid because the vision, from what I understand, the whole vision was about, you know, supporting artists. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what happened down the line. I don't know if you got nervous because so many people were mad at him because he was thriving. I mean, he was killing every week, 11 million viewers, 12 million viewers, 19. Like it was every week, nothing but millions. And so I don't know if it was too many death threats. I don't know what the situation was, but he definitely did drink the Kool-Aid. He completely changed and change it. And they're like, "Oh, this is Smollett was the reason they shut it down." No, it's because the numbers were dwindling. They were dwindling seasons ago, but
right. Yeah, they had really faded out, to tell you the truth, if you want to be real about it. Because when he had his little scandal, that's what brought them back on split.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Justin Smollett had his part, but that wasn't the only part. Right, Lee Daniels has a whole thing with, you know, with open with Monique and a whole bunch of other people. So there was a whole bunch of stuff that was going on at once that hurt that show. You know, but but I think what that show taught me was what Chicago can do. Oh, actually, I knew it, but for the rest of the world to see it. That's why you have Chicago PD. That's why you have Chicago Fire, Chicago Med. All of that came after Empire. Let's be very clear. Those shows weren't here before. They came after because they're like, oh, Chicago can make numbers. Chicago has talented artists, actresses. Let's throw some money into the city, not for anything else. Not for anything else, but let's do it for entertainment. Really, I'm not even going to get into the whole mess of what Chicago has not done for in terms of like housing and all that stuff. That's a whole other lie. I've talked about that at length on multiple different platforms. I'll get into that another time. But who, child? Yeah, it's a whole nother lie. But the one thing that they did do was throw this in entertainment. You know, so we could have all these different shows and leave a lot of actors work here. So they didn't have to necessarily go to LA or go to New York in order to have work. They really did put a lot of independent actors and actors on and give some people some really super dope reels. You know, even when it comes to The Shy. So my issue with The Shy, and I am even careful with it. Look, because I mean, like it's about Chicago, but I think it's all like part of the season. I think it's about the worst parts of the city when it comes to kids, and that's where I have a slight issue with it. I have friends that are involved in it. I'm currently one of the guys that's featured the magazine is a part of it. But my problem with the whole show is that I feel like it doesn't depict the city the way it should. The whole thing, the Spike Lee, as much as I love him, Chirac, I didn't even see it. I was so pissed when he did it because it definitely depicted the city the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think what a lot of people do is they do one of two things. They either focus on the craziness of the violence, or they focus on downtown. Like there's never a
Mm-hmm.
balance of what's going on here. The What's so crazy about Chicago is that people don't realize Chicago is a city of workers. Whether we're a city of hustlers, period. Like we're always doing something. So this pandemic situation right here is killing us because we are used to always going around, always doing something, always grinding, always always getting money, and we're not able to do that outside as much as we were. Yeah, granted, we're doing it online because we know how, but it's not to the effect that we were. We're not going out to the events like we were doing before. We're not capturing the footage that we was able to capture before, and all that. So like, if you're involved, if you're an artist in Chicago, you are just trying to figure yourself out right now, for real, because it's a lot. It's a lot harder than people understand. They're like, oh, people can just get a job. Like I get all that, but even right now, that's not even an option because a lot of the companies are shut down. You know what I mean? A lot of the companies are putting us. A lot of people are working from home.
Or they trying to hire again and want them folks to come to work for 10 and 15 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. You know?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't see. Yeah, Curious Social. I didn't see Chirac either. How you finna do a movie and you're not from here? Yeah. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't understand why people thought that was okay. I get this. They said they had some. They had they had the nod from Common apparently. I'm sure he didn't approve everything. I'm sure he approved some part. But I'm positive he couldn't have approved everything because he does a lot of work here with Common Ground and all of that. I have not had the pleasure of working with him yet, but I have a lot of people that are connected to him that have worked with him, and said he's nothing but a pleasure to work with. The one interaction that I had with him was incredible. Because he's very, very genuine when it comes to this city and when it comes to his artistry. And that's why he didn't make it. That's why he didn't. Why he's not a bigger name. He's still a big name. He's not a bigger name because he has integrity. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
When you have integrity, it's a little bit harder to make it in the industry. Everybody knows this. This is no surprise. That's just how it is. So when I say all that to say, when it comes to hashtag no crabs in the barrel, I wish Goddess was here, but she is absolutely exhausted. She's doing so many dope things. I'm so proud of her. She created the whole no crabs in the barrel hashtag because she was trying to bring unity and collaboration on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so dope because I was like, oh my god, like the no crabs in the barrel movement, like that's literally like what I'm doing in Chicago, but we can make it a freaking worldwide situation. So it's not just on YouTube, but let's do it on Instagram, let's do it on Twitter, Facebook, all of that. And now like it's just really, really grown to the point of the fact that when I had her interview with Erica, that Erica already knew what no crabs in the barrel was. Like that was the dopest part about it. She's like, oh, that's you. And I was like, that's
Mm-hmm.
like when you're talking about how to market something effectively, how to make sure that you're as my boy Dope would say, you're Googleable. you use it in everything. Like I use CSOO and No Crabs in the Barrel. You will see them together because they're both about support. And if you Google both of them, you're gonna see now. So now you're gonna see support from Chicago, support from Australia, support from England, like everywhere, because it's now. I mean, that's a global movement. You know what I mean? It's just, but it's so crazy how people didn't understand that. And so yeah, of course people go in and out, whatever. But I think the biggest thing on No Carbon About is it is about showing love and showing support and building relationships. That's why I'm so happy that she has the join button now, so we can have our networking sessions on the No Carbon in the Barrel piece, and we can like go and network and teach people different skills when it comes to editing and all of that, and not have to worry about trolls Yes.
On an extra, right.
Because it's just like I think a lot of people forget is whenever you're doing something positive, there's always going to be something negative that's against you. So you have to learn how to just thrive through it. You have to learn how to push past the negativity and just continue to go on. We could have just been like, oh, there are a couple of people down here that are hating, yada yada yada. Let's just shut it down. But not only did we not shut it down, but now it's on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. We're at over 500 likes on Facebook, like 400 some follows on Instagram. Like, and this is all within a matter of weeks.
Shit.
What I'm saying? Stuff just picked up because people are starting to see this movement and what it's about and how it's helping people. I think what happens is that people will get a bad rap because they respond after they've been attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And when you if you attack me, you cannot you are not allowed to dictate the way that I respond after I've been attacked. Trust and believe it never ends well for anyone. But there's no you cannot dictate the way that I respond after you attack me. That's not how anything works. Ever. I've worked in politics enough, advocacy enough. I've given speeches on stages with 15 people in the room and 1,500 people in the room. And it's always the same energy. And it's usually me talking about what the city or the state is not doing for housing or for you. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're not gonna do is sit up there and try to defame anything that I'm working with because you got mad.
Okay.
You didn't like the result because you made the decision to be negative and ignorant. And we made the decision to walk away. Period. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to do. Because it takes a lot of time to be able to build those relationships. It takes a lot of time to be able. When I first started doing advocacy work, I was 19 years old. Everybody in that game was like 20, had been in the game for 20 years plus. It took a very long time for me to get respect in that industry. But to this date, those politicians still know who I am. To this day, as a matter of fact, the current Cook County Board President, Tony Perkinkle, I volunteered on her campaign for 2.5 years to the point of the fact that when she sees me out, she scares the hell out of her security because she will run past them to come say hi to me. That ass is hilarious. It's hilarious. Because I'll be chilling, like, I'll be at, like, a parade or whatever, and she will, like, run over. Over here, like, what the hell? But that's because when she decided that the minute that she decided that she wanted to run, I was there. I brought my family in. I brought some of my friends in, and like when we did like our first event, it was like 6 of us deep in the rain, screaming, "This is gonna be your next cookout of a president." We're like, "Oh my god, this sounds crazy, but whatever. Let's see if it works." We didn't know. We didn't know if she'd be able to make it to that point because at that point she didn't have she didn't have really good name recognition. People couldn't pronounce her name properly. All this kind of mess.
Mm-hmm.
And now she is current competitor president. I think she's going on like her third term. And that says a lot for the work that we've done. You know what I'm saying? So
Say a whole lot, honey.
yeah, that's hard. That's also I'm not in politics anymore. I was like, I could not do this. Everybody's like, why don't you run for office? No, I've seen how y'all work. Oh no, we are not even having that conversation. It's like, oh y'all work? Mm-mm. That was too crazy for me. I refuse. I absolutely refuse.
I don't blame
And it's just like, but it's funny because like people get out here and there's just this misconception of if you're not doing this, then you're not making any moves. I'm just like, you do realize this is a platform where people come to showcase who they are, to showcase their talent, to um, and to just watch other content creators.
Yeah.
Like the whole purpose of YouTube is you. It's all about you. It's about what you want to do. Like this whole thing of trying to control people of where they're going, what they say, and who they interact with is insanity. It's just absolutely insane that people think that they can just control what your actions are going to do. How are you going to control what happens on my laptop? How are you going to control what happens on my phone that I pay the bill for? I'm confused by these things. I'm incredibly confused. But that's what's happened. And then when you don't fall into line, they get upset because you didn't conform to whatever they wanted you to do.
There's a lot of them going on. They advertising that in real life now.
Hmm. And that's the thing. It's like there's just this misconception on here about like if you're not doing 10,000 this or whatever, it's like that doesn't matter. And like what matters is what you are doing for your brand. What matters is what you are doing, what the integrity that you have when you're on here. Because I can say it 1,000 times, and one of the days y'all gonna listen. YouTube is a search engine. It can it can be the make or break of your career because if people Google you and all there is nothing but negative craziness, how do you expect to get anywhere outside of this platform? You can't.
Ain't
Especially
nowhere
right
else to
now.
go. But some of them ain't nowhere else to go.
No, there is nowhere else to go because like you're not going to be able, but because what people will essentially want is everybody, of course, wants to get the bookings, the speaking engagements, and all that kind of stuff. And it's not going to happen if you're sitting up here acting a fool. It's not. It literally is not going to happen. You're never going to be able to go to the conventions and all that kind of stuff if you're not doing things with integrity. Now there are some people that are exceptions to the rule. That got on there because they just got a whole bunch of numbers within the third, but that's not common. There's some people that got in there because of whatever they got in there because of us, but that's not the norm. And but even beyond that, at some point they did something right and they switched it up. Eugene Creative said it's a small world. So Korean Soul and you and Eugene Mac Creative are both from Chicago. And so they're talking about how they were in Oak Park and the different things that were going on in the city. Pretty awesome. Um, and it's just it's what I think what people don't understand about Chicago, and I've said this a million times. You want to talk about our violence, this and the third. So our violence increased when our school shut down. Let's start there, because I think a lot of people don't realize that we had 50 schools shut down, 50. When we had 50 schools shut down, um that meant there were kids, those that were at those schools, that now have nowhere to go, and the police department told them that if you shut down these schools, violence is going to increase. Um,
Well,
yeah, it was.
mm,
Yeah, because they said 50 schools shut down. Now it's 50 plus at this point. But when they shut the schools down, the cops are saying, the violence is going to increase because these kids are having to go through gang territory in order to get to their schools now. So it's not a, so it's not, so they have this whole problem of not being able to connect with one another.
that's sad.
And it's very, very sad, but like people want to say, oh, well, what's going on with Chicago? Why is it so violent? This and the third. I'm like, well, think about it. You have all these kids that can't be educated because they're afraid to go to school, and you have these kids that didn't even give a damn about school to begin with. So they have been there, but and then you also have the biggest problem, which is the fact that there are no jobs for youth in this city for real, because that was never their plan. And when they had an organization, especially called Jobs for Youth for ages 17 to 24, where there was the biggest gap of people that were unemployed, they could not keep that funded because people didn't understand how important that organization was. Let me rephrase that. So people understood how important the organization was, and that's why they shut it down. The problem was the fact that they had Jobs for Youth had kids that were coming out of the hood and being able to make up to between thirty to $60,000 a year after going through a program because they had dedicated internships that allowed them to be able to get housing and cars and all of that. But when you have those things right there, then you are not able to lock these kids up the way that you were able to do before because they actually have not dreams but goals but property.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do not get it twisted. This city has an agenda when it comes to the African American and Latino community, and they want to keep them in a box. Period. Point blank. They're getting paid off the fact that these kids are going to jail. They're getting paid
Yeah.
off of the fact that these kids are going on probation. Like they get paid off of all of that. So any program that diverges from that, they have an issue with. If you want to know why we have, people saying, well, what's going on with with COVID-19 and everything now, like, or how are they people handling it? Why are so many people dying? This and the third. That was just kind of long because you're wondering, like, why are people dying as opposed to just going to the doctor? First and foremost, we wouldn't go to the doctor like that any freaking way because the doctors because they've closed so many hospitals in the areas that people are dying in. That's why they can't even get to the hospital in order to save their lives because the hospitals are going far. There's a whole bunch of stuff that always gets out when it comes to what's going on. That's what frustrates me. There's always a whole bunch of things that get left out when it comes to the conversation of everything that's going on here. They always tell you about the after, but they don't tell you about what happened before that and what caused that problem and where did the root come from and why is that kid sitting up there with the guns that you bought into the city. Woo. The one thing that I will say for a fact, I do not care. Nobody is losing guns in this city.
Oh
If you
no.
think that
Again,
there
I'm
are
away.
losing guns in this city, you a damn fool.
Hmm.
There is no way that you can have so many trains that have magically dropped out that have been broken into, quote unquote, that were full of guns. Y'all can't be this dumb. You can't be. How these long train cars are so freaking long. How would they know what time they were coming, what car it was in? Think about this. They have they have a plan for the city. The problem is the fact that it's reverse white flight. So basically, what that means is like, so back in the day, the white folks decided they wanted to go to the suburbs, and now they're bored and they want to come back to the city.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Point blank. Hold on, wait, hold on, wait. Karen So said, "Well, it's not as called for what it is. Other people are working longer because everything costs so much." Yep. Also, we're working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, leaving no jobs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Period. She's very, very right. People are working so much longer because they cannot afford to be to live, period. Like, I don't think people understand, like, you should there's something called the working poor. Now the working poor is usually someone that's working 40 hours a week and still can't make ends meet because the job that they have doesn't even cover their rent. Now what it's supposed to be technically is that you are supposed to pay 30% of your income to your rent. People are paying 60 and 70% of their income to their rent. I'm gonna say that again. You are supposed to pay 30% of your income into your rent. People are paying 60 and 70% of their income into their rent. And where does that leave money for anything else? So they have to have 2 and 3 jobs and all of that because the jobs aren't paying what they're supposed to. Let's be very clear. Walmart didn't start paying $15 an hour until 3 years ago when they were asked 10 years to do so. And I know this because I was with the group that was asking them to do it. We asked them.
When
We
they
asked them in
didn't do it,
Studio 7.
they didn't do it still, and
Huh?
they still ain't did it in some states, and they didn't raise it up until they made that law. When
Right.
Obama was in the
Yep.
office, and
Yep.
they made that law, if you working supposed to be salary, you couldn't make
Yep.
no less than 45,000 a year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You sure ain't telling no story.
Right. And so hold on, wait. Let's talk about the everybody want to talk about we love the nurses, we love the teachers. Let me let y'all know how much an EMT makes. These are people that are risking their lives out there. They made the last time I checked, some EMTs are making like $9 an hour,
Mm, mm,
$11 an hour. They
mm,
risk their lives, y'all.
mm,
I'm
mm.
not even gonna get into what a CNA makes because y'all be even madder. But
Huh?
anybody that's worked in nursing, CNAs don't make no kind of money, but they have one of the hardest jobs out there. When it
Yep.
comes to companies like Target, when it comes to companies like Walgreens, when it comes a lot of these retail stores, the amount of jobs that they are giving on the one person, they should be paying them quadruple. They pay them because they're asking them to do 5 different things. They're asking them to do 5 different jobs for one paycheck.
Mhm.
If you ask people why we're having the issues that we're having is because people are exhausted. But what frustrates me to my core about this whole situation right now is that everybody wants to say, "Oh, we care about the workers and blah blah blah." Since when? And no, you don't.
Mhm.
They're still working crazy hours. People that are nurses right now are barely sleeping. I have a boy right now. He was telling me, he was like, "Man, I haven't been out for like a month." So how?
Mhm.
What is that gonna do? What is that gonna do for them? So y'all love the nurses and this and the third, and
Well,
oh,
how they gonna be able to help
y'all don't give
anybody?
them a break.
Well, how they gonna be able to help anybody if they woe out?
That part. Y'all wondering why nurses and doctors are sitting up there and they're taking their lives. Let's be very clear about this whole situation. But I don't want to say the actual workers, you two will have a freaking fit, even though we need to discuss that because y'all didn't have people that have taken their lives for real, not just faking it like Mona Simona Sonsa Ray, but people have actually taken their lives on
Mhm.
this platform.
Mhm.
And we can't even say that they're gonna work because they're like, oh, that's a bad word. Really? What about preventing the daggone thing? Oh, well, I'm gonna get fly next week because I have somebody that does nothing but um take but prevention for anti-bullying and that other word that I can't say. So I don't know if
Mhm.
it's somebody next week. Oh well, shoot. That's why I got the channels. Hello. That's why I got 2 other channels, but I'm trying to. I'm just saying, just in case things happen. But but it's just this whole thing of like the problem that we have right now in this country is that we want to act like, oh, we're so supportive of the people that are in the grocery stores and the nurses this and the third.
Mhm.
So okay, so what we're trying to say is please don't quit because we know that if y'all quit, we don't want them jobs because they're paying us enough any freaking way.
Mhm.
And we just praying that y'all don't leave because we know that we can't do it because we ain't got the patience for it. It takes a certain kind of person to be able to work in a nursing home. It's a certain kind of person to be able to work at a hospital and be effective.
Yep.
But let's be very clear. You can work at a freaking hospital all you want to, but when you are effective and you are changing lives and you are impacting people for real, that's when you become a hero. Not because you sit up there and you collect a check and you sit up there and you're disrespectful to the patients. Let's be clear because I've been in enough hospitals to see the difference. And there's
Mhm.
a difference. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Karen said, I hate the fact that the news concentrates um on other cities, right? Yep, on us other cities. Like we don't like other cities don't have as much violence. Chicago actually has less violence. We just have apparently we have more murders or something compared to other cities, but we don't have more violence. That's what I was told. Whatever. It was better. It was worse in the '90s. It's getting better. Leave us alone. Other states got problems too. Y'all want to focus on us now because Obama was our president, and
Mhm.
now you actually care because when we had a conversation with y'all, but hold on, wait, let's go back to where the whole term of Chirac even came from because this is what people don't know. So what happened? So Chirac, that term came from organizing. So what happened was that we, as organizers, we heard through the freaking grapevine how much money was going into Iraq for the war. They're throwing billions of dollars in this place, billions. We're like, well, damn, we got issues in Warzone. We got damn Chirac right here. Like, why? It was all about bringing the money that they were putting into other countries to this city so that we could help the violence issue that we had at the time. It was about building relationships. It was about building up schools. It was about building up jobs. But nobody wants to talk about that part about the situation. It was never meant to be this whole term of like, oh my God, Chicago's so bad that it's like Iraq. No, it was about bringing that money that you were putting into Iraq into our city so that we could. So we can be proactive because we can be active all day long, but we are never proactive when it comes to violence. We are never proactive when it comes to um this personal care. Like the whole reason we have the issues that we have right now is because we have too many people that simply just don't care because it's not their city. They're not from here. They didn't build any of this, and they're just here for the kicks. They just want to see the pretty things. They don't know nothing about the culture. How y'all sitting up and going to Humboldt Park talking about something? We don't want to see Puerto Ricans. We want the food. What? People, white folks sitting up in Humboldt Park talking about something. We want the food. We don't want the Puerto Ricans here. I'm confused by this thing. Like, there was a whole movement of getting the Puerto Ricans at the Humboldt Park when the Puerto Rican culture literally built those buildings from generations with their bare hands. Built those communities to make sure that they were safe and they were what they wanted for their families. And you want them to leave because you want to come here now. But this is what constantly occurs throughout the city. This is what the news is not telling y'all about. This is y'all sitting there and y'all listen to what they're saying about, oh, there's violence, oh, there's this, oh, there's that. But they're not telling you about the organizations that have been fighting for years to fix the relationship with the police. They're not telling you about that part. They tell y'all about the after when something happens. Not the group that was trying to make sure that the police knew who the kids were that were doing good so they would stop freaking shooting them. The amount of people that I had when I was doing the advocacy heavy that came up to me and that were telling me, I'm so glad you're saying something because I can't even speak. I literally had a child come up. I think the kid was like 10 or 15. He said, and I quote, the cops told me to run so I can shoot you. These are what these babies are hearing, and you wondering why they mad? They have every right to be upset because they have been forgotten, they have been lied on, they have been cheated on. Like this is the kind of mess that continuously has happened in the city that no one knows about because all they see is, oh, there was another murder. Didn't nobody talk about what happened and how that occurred? Did anybody talk about why? How did the child get the weapon in the first place? Oh wait, there was a freaking train that dropped off guns like 2 weeks ago. Nobody talks about that part. Where did that train come from? Wisconsin and Indiana. But we don't want to focus on that, right?
No,
That's not interesting enough, right?
Mm-mm. And then not interested enough, and then they might be out some money.
Child. Oh, the schools are sick right now. I'm gonna say the CPS is sick right now because they don't know what's gonna happen. They don't know if the kids are gonna be back in school in September. They're not sure. And the funny part about that situation is we've been telling them for years that they need to make these classrooms smaller because these kids can't learn. You can't cram 30 kids in a room and with all different types of learning type, all different kinds of learning types, and expect them to learn the same way. It just doesn't work. And we've been telling them this for years, and now they got to change some stuff up for real. So they got to figure out how to accommodate that. They gotta figure out how to social distance and all of that mess and make that's different. So they have to now probably break the schools down by like 15 in a classroom if they go back. If they don't go back, they have to sit there and train these parents on how to teach these kids because you can't. Well, one thing that I hate about this whole situation is that y'all just threw it out there like, okay, y'all can figure it out. There was no kind of training at any point on how to teach these kids about this stuff. Everyone doesn't have a computer because they're damn expensive. Let's start there. And then you close the libraries so they can't do their work. Like, I'm confused by this situation. I am so confused. Hold on, wait, no, wait, no, hold on, wait. Karen Soul said those very freight trains are locked without a guard in sight, so the guns can be stolen. See, that's why I love Karen Soul. He said, "How about the utility workers, the postal workers, the store workers getting sick and dying to contract from the Rona, and these people are not getting hazard pay, right? Facts.
So I
And actually, the Niger, there are more murders in St. Louis, Baltimore, New Orleans, Detroit, and Vegas. People need to do their research. The news stations are focusing on the wrong junk. The news stations are focusing on what sells the paper. So let's be very clear. The one thing that I learned when I was in media school is that black dead bodies sells papers. Black dead bodies sells airtime. Period. They literally called it freaking gold. Like it was, I was sitting there and I had to cuss out a teacher because he just kept getting at that point. He like all he wanted to see was like the death and destruction of the black community. I said, you know what? This is what we're not gonna do because if
but that's
people
what
are
they
gonna
designed out. That's what they set out to teach them, though. So if
yep,
they teach you that in school, you
yep.
already know the deal. You already know how to think when you get out of here.
Mhm.
They know what they doing.
Oh, they absolutely know what they're doing, and so what people are just realizing about is the school to prison pipeline. And I'm gonna have to do a whole live on that because I think people understand how that really works for real. So the school to prison pipeline, I'll do a very brief backstory. The school to prison pipeline they take children ages, let me say, between 3 and 6, pick a child to focus on and determine within those 3 years whether or not they're going to push them to be successful or push them to get locked up. I wish I was kidding, but I've seen this happen. Like, I've seen them pick a child and determine that this is a bad kid and they're going to be a bad child forever. And we're going to ensure that they go down the destruction where they will get locked up because we're not going to give them the opportunity. We're going to tell them that everything they do is bad. We're going to keep them in the BD section for their entire school for their entire school career, which is six. What is it? Yeah, 13 years. You would think pre-K, 13 years. For 13 years,
Mm.
we're gonna tell them that they're stupid. We're going to tell them that they don't know anything, and that there'll never be anything. And I promise you, I've seen this, and I've seen the effects of it, and it's disgusting. But this is what they do. But you have a question of why this kid didn't succeed. Then you have a question of why this kid's in the block. Well, when the school, his mama, and his friend, and every single person in his life told him that you are gonna be nothing, and we're going to ensure that you are nothing. What else did you expect? What else did you expect to happen?
Right.
Like, it's the
They
hey
know what
Keisha,
they building them up. They expect it for what they built them up for to happen.
it just absolutely crazy. Karen said, I read about that and it broke my heart because they had everything stacked against the baby, unless the parents, yep, stepped in and got the child out of rotation. Oh wait, Karen. So hold on. This is the best part about this situation. So the kid that I'm talking about, he's now 30. I think he's 30. I think he's my age or like a little bit younger. He his mom was part of the reason. So like they had got him out of for 1 year. They had got him out of the BD classes or whatever, and because his mother wanted to check because she was getting a check for him being in them classes, they put him back in there.
Sad. And that's how they doing. That's how they doing, man.
That's how they do. That's how they do them, and but it's just like to literally see it from kindergarten. That's what I knew from kindergarten to see it to be a child and see this. Like, I don't think y'all understand. I was like 5 years old and I saw this coming because I was like, why is he always in trouble? He didn't even do nothing. Like, kids aren't stupid. They know. I
Hmm.
was like, he's getting in trouble. He wasn't even the person that did XYZ. He's getting yelled at for it. Something's not right. Like, I wasn't. I yes.
It's a lot of them like that, Karen. So
there are a lot of them like that. But like I said, but they've been manipulated to the fact of to believe that they are just bad kids. They have just been told forever they are just bad kids. Like there's nothing they can do to get out of their situation, and
Yeah.
that's what's drilled into their heads. And when that is drilled into your head, how do you thrive beyond that? When all you're told is that you're nothing and you're never gonna be anything, you're never gonna go anywhere. How do you thrive beyond that? It's very and is it possible to do so? Absolutely, but it's incredibly hard. She said I broke my back for my boys to make sure we live in the quote unquote right neighborhood. And I used to go and sit in the classes with my kids. I did drive-bys on my kids and the teacher. Oh, my mom was so man, my mom was so cold. She came to the school constantly. I was snapping on teachers because they would say dumb shit to me. So and like the very first time she snapped on a teacher was when I was 8 because I wanted to make a black pilgrim and my art teacher told me that there were no black pilgrims. So I came home and I was like, "What do you mean there were no black pilgrims? All I want to do is make my put black grounds on my damn pilgrim skin. I'm not understanding this. I'm confused." So I come home and she said, "I'm sorry, what? She told you what? Ah, damn." So she explained. She was like, "Well, the black people were on the bottom of the ship," and I was like, "Wait, what?" So my mom has to explain to an 8-year-old about slavery. She wasn't very happy about that. So she went up to the school and talked to the teacher and the principal and said, and I quote, "My daughter will never look at your white face the same way again."
Hmm.
That was the first instance. Then when I was in third grade, to they had decided to we became an international school, right? So when you become an international school, studies, you're studying everything from around the world and everything is great. But for whatever reason, the people that was there decided to whoever created the artwork decided that international school meant white everything, including Martin Luther King Jr. They gave him blonde hair and blue eyes. My mama said, "What?"
You hear me? I'm like, huh?
My mama said, "What?" She said, and my principal had the audacity to say, "We don't celebrate Martin Luther King Day every day." That didn't end too well for her either. They changed that shit. Cause she's like, "I'm about to go to the media. Y'all keep playing with me." And she had media connections at the time. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, "I'm about to go to the media with this mess. Y'all playing games with the hip."
Mm-hmm.
It was just it was just crazy. Like but I think back to the fact that like I know the biggest thing that I did was when I was in high school and I refused to be read of mice and men because of the fact that I was like, well, the black character doesn't really have a name. All I see is the N word. Like I'm confused. Like why am I reading this shit? And yeah, because like the black character had, I guess apparently the black character had a name at the end, but through the rest of the book he didn't. So I was like, I ain't reading this. I refuse. And so my mom read, and she was like, "What the hell is this classic for?" And now my kid's not going to read it, and this is why she's not reading it. And apparently, I was not privy to this conversation, but I heard that she'd used the N word all up and down that school, and traumatized the principal, the vice principal, and some staff in there, because she was like, she's like, "Oh no, we can intellectualize the N word all day long, but boy, my kid's not reading this. I'm letting you know now." She said she wasn't gonna read it. She ain't gonna read it, and that's just what it's gonna be. But there are a lot of parents that won't do that and won't say anything, and that's part of the problem too. Yes, Martin Luther King Jr. was what child. You have no idea. I think a lot of parents now are afraid to say something, and that's a big problem too.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And then a lot of them are young and not saying,
Yeah.
and they think that they know best. But I be looking at them like, girl, this is the girl that was grew up down the street from us. She don't know no better for your child than you. Like, how you gonna listen to her? Like, come on, speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Because this stay here massive for trying to hold kids back and all that stuff. I don't believe there is a child. Now I might be wrong, But I don't believe there's a child down here that hasn't been held back. Period. And that's a strong ass assumption there, baby. And I'm telling you, from
Okay.
kindergarten to pre-K, that's when they really start. Kindergarten, hold them back. They don't get you in the kindergarten, they
Um,
don't get you in the first grade. They don't get you in the first, they don't get you in the second. They big between the kindergarten and the fourth grade down here. They will
mhm,
hold you back so quick. It don't make no sense.
mhm.
And then they got states like Minnesota. They don't care if you don't your child don't learn nothing. They gonna pass them, and get them on out of there.
Thank you for
So
coming
I
back. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun. But like it's insane because that's what people don't realize is like there are some places that literally just don't care. Like
right.
they just don't care. Like you're African American, you're Latino, you're here. You're filling our quota.
Thank you.
People don't
You
care
would
if
think
you're
it'd be illegal. Keisha, I know one girl, she went to the principal, the teacher, the superintendent girl, all just to find out they made her wait a month just to find out they still was gonna hold her kids back. And I was like, are you serious? Cause see, I guess the Lord know who to let have them. Cause baby,
baby.
honey, I just turn the
Yeah.
food down there. I say, you know what? We just gonna take it on to the house and take it on to the house. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
If I think you feel like you're gonna be flunky, I'm gonna flunk you.
Right. Exactly. And that's what, and I think a lot of parents are so I think a lot of parents are so nervous about saying anything about to these schools because the way that they were taught was, quote unquote, stay in a child's place. That's the dumbest line I've ever heard. And I'm gonna tell you why. That whole stay in a child's place is what has allowed these kids to be able to be harmed because they have been told to stay in a child's place so they don't so if something happens to them they won't say anything. When something is happening to them they won't even resist it because they've been told that
Mhm.
adults are the ones that are right and they're always wrong, so they're not even going to speak up because they think, well, if the adults doing this then they must be right because no
Right.
no adult's going to sit up here and
Do a mess like this, I know, right?
you know what I'm saying? Like, how you think people like Sandusky was around for all those times? Like,
Mhm.
how you think? Well, I forgot what dude's name is. The guy, the doctor that was working with the gymnastics team. How you think he got away with that? Was the fact of the matter that those kids trusted them. Those parents trusted them to take care of them. They're like, wait a minute, something's not right. But this can't be wrong because this is what we were told to do, and this is who people are saying to go to. This is who they're saying they trust. So we can't be wrong. He has to be doing something right, and we have to be the wrong ones. But this whole bit, kids should be seen and not heard mess is the biggest problem. And that's why I get frustrated with these kids out here today because I was like, y'all don't understand the voice that you have. You're sitting up there and you're making all this and you're spreading all this mess and you're making things go viral that don't need to go viral. But back in the day, well, we wish we could have had this many adults listen to what we were saying when it came down to the youth issues, when it came down to the fact that there's all these organizations that claim they're for youth, but they had no youth at the table, and so they're making all these wrong decisions because none of the people that are on that board even lived in that area or knew what the hell was going on to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I need people to really understand what it used to be. Like what back in the day, you wouldn't have had any of these kids being able to say anything. And so the reason that people are they had to disrupt these movements is because they saw that they were powerful. The reason they had to get in there and disrupt Black Lives Matter is because they saw that it was gaining power for real. So they had to get up there and make and infiltrate it because they saw the power that it was gaining. It's absolutely insane. Oh, so
Yeah, Karen.
mm,
So she said she had a very young cousin, but I wait. No, she said, you're right. My cousins are younger than me, and they are in Batesville, baby. My aunts used to rotate through the schools for their kids. None of my cousins have been left back, but they tried. That's the thing. Yeah,
Wow.
see, your cousins' moms was saying something. They tried to do me like that my first year here. I
Jesus.
left. I left. I had them past fourth grade. Coming down here to fifth grade, girl, they was trying so hard to hold me back. Girl, my mom went in there, was cutting up. She was like, y'all must can't read the paper. She not ready past the fourth. What the hell? I'm like, whoa. Well, no, because they was talking about my birthday and all that kind of shit. Well, that ain't got shit to do with it. My mama said, well, if she flunk, let her flunk. But now she going to the fifth grade.
That part.
Mm,
Keisha said, I have a very young child, but I allow my child to ask questions and talk to me about anything, not just shut up and be seen and not heard. I think a lot of, and thank you for that, because I promise you that's going to change your child's life. Like, I need people to really
yeah.
understand that these kids are not stupid and they understand what's going on, and right now they're incredibly scared because they can't see their friends. They're not really understanding why. They can't, some of them they can't, some of them had favorite teachers that they can't see right now. Maybe there's gotta try to find a way. If you guys have like relationships with the teachers, try to find a way to either Zoom with them or something so that the kids can feel comfortable, because there are some teachers that really did make their kids' day, and to not be able to see them is really depressing them right now. Like, think about this. Don't just be like, oh, it's okay, they're not gonna care. These kids care. And they understand, because when you're 5 and 6 years old, you're starting to build relationships for real. You're starting to understand people and understand, you know, like how people interact and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really difficult. Yes. They said, okay. So my mom's told me my mom told me to tell, and she would ask me questions. I told my kids to yell because, baby, if Mofo touched my baby, I was gonna stand on their swing. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing. You have to encourage these kids to tell. You have to. Um. Yep. It's just, yes, they do. They are so stressed. They are stressed. They are stressed as we are about this because they don't get it. Like, they kind of get it. They kind of understand a little bit, but they really don't get it. They don't understand why they can't go outside. They really don't understand why they can't see their friends. They don't understand why they can't go on a play date. They don't understand why everything's going on through the screen. And so you have to sit down and talk to them about it, and kind of, and kind of, explain that, like, like, a lot of people are sick and we're only trying to keep you safe. But even, and we understand that you want to see your friends, and as soon as this is over, we'll make sure that we can do a play day, and we'll make sure that everyone is safe and all of that. But you can't just sit there and be like, oh, well, they're a kid, they're not gonna care. That's just not that's not the way to go about it. But that's how many people have gone about it. They're kind of just like, oh, well, they're just kids, they're not gonna worry about it, they're not gonna care, they're not gonna want to they're not gonna focus on this. They're, like I said, they're just babies, whatever. But when you think about that, that's how you have the issues. Yeah, I do too. Because that when you think about that, like that's where you have these issues of these kids with low self esteem, and some of these kids, their interaction was school. They're that's where they got their confidence from, because the parents weren't doing it. Like, I feel sorry for the kids that with the parents that didn't give a damn before, because they're not pushing their kids to do these e-learning. They're not sitting down with them and making sure that they're on ABC Mouse and all that kind of stuff. They're not. They're literally not. And so it's what I'm hoping is that the kids are old enough to kind of navigate this stuff, and they've played around with it long enough so they don't have to worry about the parents as much. But the same way, it's incredibly sad. And I do try to see Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel for trying to kind of help the kids kind of cope with the situation, but it's still a hard conversation to have because you're trying to explain to them. You have to explain to them what's going on. You have to explain to them when people aren't here anymore. Like kids nowadays are dealing with death way more than we ever had to, and at a faster rate. Like I know the first experience that I had was when my grandfather passed, and I was like 6, right? And so that was the first one. And then I had my grandfather and my uncle pass, and I was like 10. But like the amount of but having to do this like back and forth and just back to back to back, people are passing and they're not understanding what's going on is a totally different situation. Really? Oh, yeah. So Cantor said the smaller kids having to be taught by some of these parents. Honey, right? I am so shook because speaking with some people, I feel like I lose brain cells. Yeah, exactly. And I feel bad for the kids that are special needs because their parents were already struggling with them to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Their parents are already struggling from the beginning with nothing I do with other crap. It's a lot. It's a lot, and so what I'm hoping that we can learn from this entire situation is to help one another. And if we have a friend that that has kids and you see them struggling, help them, help them to if they see them struggling with the schoolwork or they're frustrated, help them. Sit them down, and be like, okay, what do you need? I can maybe if you're able to tutor somebody else, do it right now because especially if you're not working or you work from home, you have a couple hours, tutor some kids if you see the parents are struggling with it. It doesn't hurt. It's gonna help you in the long run. It's gonna make you feel good because you've made a kid smile. Like that's what I think is the biggest thing about hashtag no crabs in the barrel and CSOs. It literally is about support. And that was the main thing that I wanted to get out of this whole thing. And this is about supporting one another and coming together and building bridges and building relationships and helping to create great things. Not just in Chicago, not just in DC, but around the world. And the best thing about being a content creator is that you get to work with all these amazing organizations and people and bring it all together and just create this magic. I tell people all the time, like people hear the radio shows on here that I've done, but like those are people that I've never met. Just from all over the world, literally, we came together and created some phenomenal content. Cancer said I literally didn't experience a death. My family until I was like 16 or 17. And it was my great grandparents. It's so much harder for these kids. Yeah, because they're experiencing it every day. Almost some kids, depending on what area you're in, they're going to funerals for. The one thing I will say, the hardest thing for a kid to do is go to a funeral for a child. The very first funeral I went to for a child, I was 18, and that was the most traumatizing thing in my life. I'd never seen the casket so small. Think about a child that's like 6 and 7 having to go through that. There are a lot of them right now that are dealing with that. Kids that are 10 going to funerals with their friends that are like 12 because they were outside at the wrong time or they were inside and they were too close to the window. The parents I said I'm old. None of my friends have small babies. Some of them are grandparents, but we are in healthcare or IT field, so we want to be around the little ones. Oh, that's awesome! You're an IT child. Can you help some of these people? Can you help some of these celebrities, these content creators that don't know what the hell they doing? Can you do that? Because some of them be up here just struggling, child. Lord have mercy. Just struggling on the pole live streams. Just struggling. But seriously, I think, when it comes to different movements, it's people need to realize that it's not about, let's exclude X, Y, Z person. It's more about including as many people as you can so that the platform can grow. Keisha said, and people don't let the children talk about their feelings, or they seem to think kids don't, quote unquote, need therapy. All I hear is kids are resilient. Oh my lord. That goes back to that whole sticks and stones will break your bones mess. Like, I really want to smack that person in the face that wrote that, because that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Says who? Like, who wrote this? Like, who is the originator? Can we find out the originator? Go find eight grandchildren and slap them, or great grandchildren, or whatever the heck. I forget when that phrase was invented, but she said, no, ma'am, I'm behind the scenes. I'm like, can we go back and find whoever made that stupid phrase and slap them? Because the people don't realize that the emotional scars that these kids are dealing with is something that cannot be repaired. A physical bruise will heal. An emotional scar is a lot harder to heal because you can't see it. People are wondering why these kids are taking their lives, but they're not understanding. And there's always the conversation of, well, what did that kid deal with? They don't have no problems. Okay, let me just break it down for you. I've seen a couple of the different stories of what kids have gone through, but I can definitely give my experience. When you have a situation and you are constantly being bombarded with hate. Hold on. Keisha said exactly. I used to miss young people, and the hurt they go through is astounding, to the point that I went back to ask my grown kids questions, and it looked at me like I was crazy. That part. So, like I said, you have all these kids nowadays that are being tortured at school, physically sometimes. A lot of times it's emotionally, but sometimes it's physically. The schools won't in the classrooms. The teacher won't do nothing. The principal won't do nothing. Sometimes the parents won't do anything, or the kids won't even tell the parents because they know the parents won't do anything. So they keep it inside of them, and they just kind of suck it up and just make excuses. And, oh, I fell into a door. Oh, I fell on the playground, or whatever. Or if a teacher has an issue with a teacher, oh, I just don't. I'm just feeling sick that day. I just don't want to go to that classroom. But they're not telling them why they're feeling sick. They're not telling them that their teacher was berating them and keeps on giving them bad grades just because they just don't like them for whatever reason, and it keeps them calling them stupid and doesn't give a damn about them. But they don't want to tell they don't want to tell the parents that, because they've always been taught to listen to their teachers and to, quote unquote, stay in a child's place, right? So we have all these kids that are sitting up here, and let's be clear now. So now we have these kids that are sitting up here. They're having this issue at school, and then some of them can't go home because at home it's even worse because mom or dad is drunk or high and can't function, and we trying to figure out how the hell they got kids and why they have kids anyway. And, oh wait, they just did it for the paycheck, because they really don't care about these kids. So they're collecting children. So now these kids are sitting up there and they're trying to navigate, and and they're trying to figure out the homework, but they can't get it because their parents can't help them, and they can't tell the teacher because the teacher doesn't care. They can't tell the parent because the parent doesn't care and didn't want them in the first place. And they tell them constantly that they didn't want them and you were a mistake. And this is what kids are dealing with. But wait, it gets better. And then you have the kids that are dealing with all of that. And then they have the problem where they can't go outside because this gang doesn't like this gang, and those gangs are right next to each other, and they're right dab in the middle, and they can't go on this block because this gang will be mad. They can't go on that block because that gang will be mad. But all they can do is go straight. But the school got closed down on this side, so now they have to go through gang territory in order to get to school, to be tortured, to learn nothing, to come home, to be told that you're worthless. And you wonder why these kids are taking their lives. They feel they have no way out. I don't think people understand what these kids are going through. I don't think people understand how important it is. When we say love on these kids, we're so serious because you don't know that smile that you give them might be the one that they get through the entire day. The amount of children that have to go through all of what I just said is way more numbers than you can imagine. And it's not just like, oh well, that's just some people, and that doesn't matter. And that doesn't matter your nationality, your sexuality. We're not even getting into the fact that what these poor kids in the rainbow community have to go through. That's a whole nother lie. Because that right there is a whole nother nightmare. And God has actually touched on it too, because when we're talking about Dwayne Wade's kid and DL men and why that and how that comes to be, there are so many kids that feel that they have no voice because they have been told time and time again that they are not important, that they are just there, that I only slept with your daddy for blah blah blah, and you happen to be here. You were a mistake. This is being told to kids on the daily. And some kids, some parents won't even it won't even speak those words. They'll just put their hands on them. They'll just hit them whenever they feel like it because they're upset that day. Because their life is jacked up because they had no vision and they weren't thinking about being a parent, and it just happened, and they didn't, and their religion said they couldn't get an abortion, so they had this kid, and now they're torturing the kid, and the kid can't see the father because the mama don't get along with the daddy, even though the daddy didn't do nothing wrong at this point, but the mama just had issues. Now the kids all jacked up because the kids trying to figure out why they can't see their father, and why you sitting there screaming every time they want to say the father's name. And there's all the negativity of, well, your daddy did da, but your daddy did nothing to that child. It's a sad situation. It really is a sad situation, and so it's like we have to get to the point where we start listening to these kids, because they'll tell you without telling you. I say it all the time. Oh, thank you, Keisha. You're so awesome. Good night, Mama. Have a great night. Take care. Much love. Um, like, but they'll tell you without telling you. They will literally give you so many hints before anything serious happens. They'll let you know that there's something wrong. I say this all the time. If you ask how a child's day was, and all they say is okay, dig deeper. Because they're giving you the answers that you want to hear so that you won't ask the question anymore. And it usually means something's wrong, but they're just telling you that so you can not ask them anymore. Not because everything's okay. It's because they just want you to stop asking. Because they know if you continue to ask, it's going to bring out whatever the issue is. And they're afraid to tell you the issue because they don't know how you're going to react. Because you didn't build that relationship that has them be able to trust you. When I say right now, trust is so important. There are so many people right now that are so incredibly scared, and I do not understand for the life of me why people think that this is the time to sit up there and be disrespectful and mean and hateful and cruel when so many people are dying before our eyes, and we don't know who we are, who we're gonna see and who we're not gonna see. We don't know who's gonna make it out of this. We don't know if we're gonna be able to hug our loved ones again. We don't know if they're gonna get sick and they can't survive. We don't know if they have the strength to want to go on, because I'm gonna tell you right now, there is a strength that has to come within you to push out of this situation, because I've seen people get out of it, and it's because they had a strength to know that they wanted to do so. And we had the situation where we're allowing the media to tell us that to sit up there and just and rattle off all the numbers of people that are dying, and this is what they're filling their heads with. And you have to stop listening to that, because that's not going to help anything. Listen to the people that are telling you how many people are surviving it, and what you need to do in order to thrive from it and thrive beyond it. Because I'm telling you for a fact that we can thrive beyond this, but we have to be able to work together in order to do so, because we cannot do it by ourselves by any means at all, especially right now. There's so many people that can be doing good that are choosing just to be negative and evil and mean, and I do not understand it at all. Everybody loves a little kiki here and there, but when you're sitting there and you're trying to destroy someone's life because you got mad, because you got treated, I'm confused. There's no reason to want us to want to destroy someone outside of here because you got upset. But that's what's happening. And it doesn't make any sense. Because people are not understanding that in this time we need people to be able to come together and build. That's what social media is supposed to be about. It's about building relationships. I do not understand why all of a sudden it's become the worldwide way to torture people, as opposed to being the worldwide web, which is supposed to connect people. It was all about connecting at first. I don't know when that switched, but I need people to switch it back so we can get back to having fun and building content and building relationships. Karen Toll said, "Sure deny because I lose 10 coworkers. I can't do nonsense. I saw a friend who tested positive for Corona, but they are recovering." He said, "I can't deal with the ish." I don't. I refuse. That's why I get irritated when I get brought into it. Because people get mad because they got kicked out of things because they were negative, and I'm like, but you was the one that was acting crazy. How you mad because we left you? What? It doesn't make any sense. But people want to sit up here and lie and cheat and steal and then be like, let's be friends. No, I'm good. I don't need that energy around me. The first thing that I thought about when this whole thing happened, I called my goddaughter's mom, and I was like, "So you're in the house, right? You ain't going nowhere. None of this is my goddaughter." Because I will be the first to say, if anything happened to them, you won't see me for a very long time, because that will be a breaking point for me. I have lost 2 other people in this last year and a half. I would not wish anything of that's happened to me on anyone, because it's just been sitting back to back to back to back to back, and people are like, "How are you out there? And how are you still working this and that?" And I had to. I had no choice. If I just stay there stagnant and just focus on everything that I've lost in the last year and a half, I wouldn't be good to anyone. And I still have brands that I'm helping to build, and I still have family that needs encouragement, and I still have friends that need encouragement. I can't just sit there and just worry about what's happened to me. But what I can do is speak up when something's wrong. I can say that when people are lying and cheating and stealing, that's just not right, and that's not okay. And you don't have to sit up here and curse and this and the third to say that this is fucking wrong. And it's disrespectful, and there's no reason for it. And we really need to stop, because it's not helping anyone. Because all you're doing when you're doing mess like that is destroying yourself. You're destroying your reputation. You're not hurting mine, trust. Because I built up my reputation since I was 10 years old, and it stays untarnished because people know who I am and what I've done, and I have multiple receipts from all over the world. But people are over here and destroying their reputations for a click and a view. And what sense does that make? Parents say, yeah, I get that. I was tested on someone's live because I didn't agree with them, and the content creator said nothing. So I had to cleanse myself and unsub from 11 people. Ouch. And that's just what it is. Like that's what's like, and that's what I've been doing is I'm subbing from people that just can't get it because I can't. I refuse. I absolutely refuse to be in somebody's chat if they, if they're negative, if they're, if I feel uncomfortable. Like, why do that? I can go ahead and watch some badass cake videos and watch some kittens and puppies and things and not have to deal with this and go listen to music and go over on a playlist from dope artists. Like, I don't have to be in a chat where I feel attacked. I will not by any means be in a chat where I feel attacked or I feel that my friends are being attacked all because you want to click in the view. For what? This click and this view was not worth their reputation, but y'all seen that they messed up y'all whole reputations, and for what? Y'all seen that it's just YouTube. Okay, Google your name real quick. Let's see if you see if it's just YouTube then. There's a couple people right now that have that had reputations that were in the industry, and Google their names right now, and yeah, they will not be getting jobs that have integrity for a very long time because they gotta rebuild that trust that they once had for people. It's just too many people that just don't get it. There are too many people that don't understand the importance of showing love to one another and building with each other. They'd rather tear people down. Well, that's what y'all want to do. That's fine. I've never been on that. That's never been my MO. But what I will not do is allow people to lie on me and a life would lie on my friends. That's what we're not going to do. That's what will never occur. That's why we have put out so many receipts to prove that that was a lie. We have the proof that was a lie. Karen Sosa, I just would not put my integrity on the line for this. It's not worth it. It's not. It's not worth it. Putting your integrity on the line is just to be quote unquote popular on social media. It's not worth it at all. Because in the long run, I want to make sure that my social media reflects who I am in real life. That's why you see on my social media events that have happened in real life because they've seen what I've done on social media, and that's gotten me invited to places in real life that are more exclusive, and I can get content other people can't get because of my reputation on social media. I know exactly what I'm doing when it comes to my page, and I know and slow and steady runs the race. I literally care. Like, I've been on YouTube since 2013 on this channel, at least. But I didn't really care about this page. Like, it was just some place to put videos occasionally. I didn't start caring about it till last year. But within that year, I have now been able to grow my page and grow my channel and all of that because I started putting time and work into it. And I started to build relationships. But I always kept on brand. I have a couple videos on snapping on people. Yeah, but so what? The majority of my videos are about uplifting people and showing love and teaching about a subject and showcasing artists because that's what I do outside of social media. It's the same thing. Nothing has ever changed from what I do here. Nothing will ever change from what I do here because I have built a relationship and a rapport with my audience and with fellow content creators and with organizations that allows me to be able to stay on brand and not compromise my integrity while building my brand and theirs. A lot of people forget, like, if you're wanting to be in this industry, then you want to make sure that what you're doing is positive for the most part, so that people will trust you with their brand. When they see you growing, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, how did you do that?" I'm like, I ain't got time for that. Here, let me let you handle it. And that's what's happened. And I'm blessed to be able to work with some amazing organizations and see the growth that's come from me building other relationships with them. There are some amazing things that can happen online if you do it right. I promised you. When I was on Periscope, I was working. I've been working with Casey Business for years, and she literally built an entire tour, like a 50-city tour, off of Periscope because she had a message that she put out there every morning, and she brought people in and made them feel like they were there with her, like they were having breakfast with her, and she's getting business tips. And she did, and one of her friends told her to do, well, why don't we have one live that we do the exact same thing that you do online, offline. It literally took one event, and then after that, she was booked all over the world, giving business tips and building businesses. And that's what she's been doing ever since. And now she's moved over to sports, and we have the sports organization that's in Vegas. And we've been building people up in Vegas and helping athletes, young athletes, to realize that they're not just kids. They're not just athletes, that they're actually kids with names and dreams and goals. You have to teach people that you're more than just a singer. You're more than just an athlete. You're more than just an actress. You are a person first. What your career is not who you are. You are a part of that career, but your career is not you. And once people understand that they are so much more than just their career or the career that they want to have, that's when they can thrive. So many people are so focused on a click and a view that they're forgetting who they are. And that's the problem that we're having right now. And that's what we have to fix. And once we can get past that point, then things will grow and people will start thriving and we will start having fun again. But until we can get that part together, we're going to have the same issue over and over and over again. So, but I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I thank everyone for coming in. Shout out to everyone that came through. Shout out to Deanna for coming on for a bit. That was really, really fun. I always love having people on that, especially when they're from Chicago, when they can vouch for what I'm saying when it comes to the line they try to do for our city. It's always, always, always a blessing. Shout out to Karen Soul and Keisha Newman and Adam and everyone that came through and was interacting and all that. I truly appreciate all of you. Charm Squad is amazing. Shout out to UG Mac for coming through. Usually that creative, that it's always great when you're able to really show people who you are and what you do beyond what they think you do based on what they've been told. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and Snapchat at Danaya Azure. That's DANAYAEDURE. If you forget, my name is in the corner of this live. That's where you can find me all over social media. If you have not already done so, make sure that you turn that red button gray and follow me on here as well. Make sure you like the Facebook page, facebook.com/Designs Review, facebook.com/KFresh Entertainment, facebook.com/Deniers Your Radio, and grab your copy of HFL magazine. That can be done at www.k4sent.com. If you get that, that's also in the top. So I guess the top right hand corner for y'all of this broadcast. So you guys can go and grab that as well. We got new issue coming out in a couple weeks, and I'm just telling you right now, whoo, baby, it's about to be on and popping. Trust and believe, because we got some more incredible people that we have showcased. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you for Zarina. Hey, you would come right when I'm leaving. I can't with you. So, but shout out to Zarina. She is so amazing. I love her. She's such a beautiful soul. Shout out to all the family No Cabins about. Shout out to Goddess and Madam and Shan and oh my god, Deanna, like everybody, the Trail Gang, WGQs, like we just have so many people that we've been blessed to be able to network with and just build. That's what this is about. It's just about building. Charm Squad definitely came through tonight. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys had fun. I always want to make this a platform where everyone is welcome to come as long as you don't start nothing crazy. I have no problem with people coming in the chat and just having fun and networking and building. I don't care where you go. I don't care what you do. Just don't disparage my name. I work incredibly hard on my brand. You feel me? But I do appreciate everyone that comes through here, whether you're in the bushes or you're in the chat. I truly appreciate you. If you're in the bushes, come on down in the chat. I promise I don't bite. I really, really don't. I'm very supportive of most of everyone as long as they're respectful. You only get blocked if you're disrespectful. You come in here talking mess and you get blocked. I got some of the best daggone mods in the world. What do you mean? But it's all about building relationships. It's all about networking. It's all about caring for one another. That's how I am online. That's how I am offline. You can ask anyone that's in this chat. You can ask any one of my clients. You can ask people that have known me since freaking grammar school. They will all tell you the exact same thing. That message never changes. So, with that being said, I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you for listening. You guys totally rock. I'm super excited to see where this channel is going and to show you guys some awesome stuff. So I'll be back on Saturday in the morning. I'm actually going to be doing a broadcast with Project 180 Chicago. And hold on one second, I gotta look because shout. And it's also going to be the Kennedy Forum. So we're going to be talking about, hold on, let me get this together real quick. Mental health and how that converts all everything that's going on here. So it's talking about mental health in the pandemic and the minority community specifically. So we're going to be live on this channel. We're going to be live on the Project 180 page. So we make sure that you guys like that page as well. It's going to be really, really powerful, very, very powerful panel. Got some amazing panelists. So it's going to be a super, super dope show. But yeah, make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Snapchat at Danaya Azure, DANEYAAZURE, and continue to express what makes you unique.